Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm going to be your host for today, and that over there is Steven.
What's up, everyone? And on the other line, we have John.
And our lovely host today is Crystal.
Hey. Here, back on our life advice podcast, hoping to drop one once a week for you guys. We're not experts, but we got some life experience. We're not dummies. So today we're going to give you a little bit of advice on friends. So we hope you guys consider us friends, gather around. Hopefully we can help you guys learn how to make friends out there in the real world. We are now on the line. First topic today is making friends. How do you make friends? It's freaking hard. Everybody's going to be a little different, but here is some tips on what we think helps make friends. My first tip is just taking the initiative. You can't just be waiting out here for people to reach out to you or look at you and be like, hey, join our group, or hey, want to have coffee later. If you want to make friends, you need to go out there with the intent that, you're going to make friends. And I think to first take that step, take the initiative, is just being nice to someone around. And if they catch your vibe, you catch their vibe, you just start rolling from there. Take the initiative. If you're in class at school and the person next to you seems cool, ask them a question about something, compliment them on their shirt, notice something that they're looking at on their phone. Okay, that's kind of creepy. Maybe just their notebook has this thing on it. Let me compliment.
Searchy.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, maybe don't go and stare at all their stuff, but give them a compliment and see how it goes.
It's one of those things where that's even tough because as someone who's pretty introverted, I could care less about trying to make friends at school. Definitely the intent is important. Like the idea, if you want to go out of your way, make friends, you kind of have to make that effort because it's a back and forth. You can't just expect people to open up to you and then just now we're friends. You kind of have to have a open vibe to it.
Yeah, that basically leads straight into my point where to make friends, you just have to make yourself available. It can't be this one sided conversation, even though, let's say, I'm the one trying to reach out and make some friends. I understand that they also have to reciprocate the same amount of attention or at least find some commonalities. It's just finding things that you guys can relate on and then kind of, I don't know, put your own little personality spin on it. Obviously, you're not trying to fake your personality to make some friends, but you definitely have to reach outside of your comfort zone. You have to make yourself available and you have to be receptive. You have to listen to what other people have to say.
Yeah, making friends is definitely a two-way road. It's a two-way road. Although, there are people that, their baseline of friendship is as long as you're just there listening to them talk, you guys are friends. So you don't even have to reciprocate sometimes. But of course, if you want something beyond that, you have to reciprocate and, make your efforts at the same time.
Whenever you're just anytime in your daily life where you have to go do something, like go to work, go to school, go to the gym, you can make friends there. All you got to do is just be nice to someone. And then if they reciprocate that niceness, there's the two-way street.
The point that I would say, if you're really trying to make friends and say it's just you're going out there and you're trying to communicate and try to find common interests, but it's just not sticking. This is my tip for you. Just laugh at whatever they say, even if it's not that funny. I think I have never met a single person that's laughed at everything I said where I don't think about oh, that he gets it. She gets it. I'm gonna be friends with that person. So that's my tip. It because it makes you seem like you get what they're saying and you're on their same page as them. And when you're on the same page as somebody, they just want to hang out with you more. So laugh at everything they say, even if it's not funny.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always trying to make jokes to like lighten up the situation of whatever situation I'm in. And the people who laugh at my jokes, I'm like, you know what? I always liked that person. And then now you want to be friends
I
with
knew
them.
it.
So it
I
definitely
knew that person was
works.
Yeah.
good.
It's always like those quiet people too. They're like, oh, they never talked, but they just laughed at my joke. I'm gonna be friends with them. I feel like everyone's gonna ask this is like, okay, we know how to say you know how to make friends. Like, where are you gonna make those friends? My tip here: make friends with friends of friends. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
if you have like one friend that you've known since like a kid, hang out with them or hang out with their friends, and then you try to be friends with their friends. Because if you're friends with someone and you know they're a good person, they're gonna also be friends with other good people, or at least you would hope so. So that's like the best place to look. People who you're friends with and who their friends are, because hopefully they're around the same type of people and you get along probably pretty good. Or like
Yeah, you'll
if you're just
probably
like
have
your
the
family
same
members.
base level kind
Yeah.
of friendships with your those guys that you do with the original person.
And if you don't even have friends, if you have cousins for brothers and sisters and you like them, you can hang out with their friends and then maybe you could be friends with them. So
Yeah.
just like it's like a networking kind of thing. Like you know someone, and then if you like somebody that you know, maybe try to get in with their friends because obviously they're gonna have friends that are pretty similar to them. So that's my advice. Just make friends with friends of friends and you just keep going. And you're gonna have to, if you're an introvert, sometimes you might have to like go out to that one party or that one gathering that makes you uncomfortable. And then once you make friends there, you can like branch off and like be friends with the people you want to be friends with and then not be friends with the people that you didn't like.
I think like as far as like where to try to find friends is if you go to just like whatever you normally go to. Say you go to the gym a lot or you go play basketball at some park or you do some type of activity outside of any of like work and stuff like that. Like if you have interest somewhere and there's people there, those people have the same interest as you. So that's go make friends with them. It's going to be a lot easier to bridge as well. And especially if it's something that happens a lot, like you go to this place all the time, then already you kind of have that connection. You see them, you're familiar. So if you walk up to somebody and try to be their friend, it's going to be a lot easier.
Do you ever like make fun of people that you like?
Yes.
Like,
All the time.
I don't know if it's just my
Like, dislike
personality, but
people.
if,
Yes.
if I like someone, I'll just like pick on them. And I hope they take that as in like I like them and I want to be friends with them, not like I hate you and I don't want. Because
A
like if I'm gonna make
very
fun of you,
preschool elementary view.
yeah, it is. But like if like I feel comfortable enough to like make fun of you, not even like for real make fun of you, just like crack a joke, like sarcasm kind of thing, then that means I'm friend like I want to be friends with you. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's sending the wrong signal. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think it's
How
definitely
like do
telling.
you receive it properly?
I think anytime you're with like a group of people, like a group of friends or common friends, you notice is that all the people who are actually friends, they like they bag on each other the whole time. But then that is to say there's that one person they don't really know, they'll only receive compliments from that person. Because you don't, if you're a nice person, of
True.
course, like you don't go to a random person you're not friends with and just bag on them. That's like you could tell who's kind of not friends with whom within this group is if they only do compliments. But oh yeah, Joe's terrible at that. But, Mike's actually pretty solid. He's actually kind of good. It's like, oh, so he doesn't really like Mike, or he doesn't really know Mike at all.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like not a lot of people know that, and people like will get offended. Like, oh, so and so treated them so badly. But no, it's just that they're really good friends and they like roasting each other.
It's like once you guys get past that like baseline of mutual respect, all the trash talking starts coming out. So I think, at least in my case, I like to build rapport with people, like form a solid relationship to where if I do end up making fun of you, it's because you understand that we are friends. And obviously, I wouldn't say something to someone with any ill intent if they weren't my friend already,
Yeah.
unless I do.
There you have it, guys. So the meaner we are to you, that means we're probably friends. Reciprocate it and just leave the nastiest comments down below.
Bring
Yeah.
it on.
If you learned anything from that, I would say start off nice, get that initial grab at a friend. And then once you start getting more comfortable, you start roasting each other for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. They might start roasting you first. Don't take it as a sign of disrespect. They might just really like you.
Yeah. After you make friends, how do you keep those friends? I want to talk more so about like the friendship life cycle right now because well, you're not going to have the same friends for your whole life. You know, the person you're going to be friends with in kindergarten, some people might have that friend through their whole life. Some people might make friends 1 year and the next year they have a whole different circle of friends. So I wanted to talk about that. Like sometimes you think a friend is going to be there their whole life and then you have a falling out. So to start this off, I'm going to say a quote that I really liked about the friendship cycle. Some friends are in your life for a reason. Some are in your life for a season and
Oh,
some you'll have for a lifetime. I feel like that's a good like three buckets of friends. One, friends that are there for a reason. You know, the people that come into your life and in a certain point in your life where they're just there to either help you through something specific, like physically, emotionally, mentally, you know, but like one thing and they're there to support you. And then once that time is over, they did their duty. There was no issues. It was just they were there when you needed them and then that's it. And then there's friends that were there for a season. So friends who are like your best friend, they were there like the whole time for like, I don't know, like a year, 2 years, doesn't matter. But then all of a sudden there's just like a falling out. And those are the people like you just learn a lesson from. You people come into your life, you learn a lesson from that friendship, and then either it ends bad or it ends good, but you don't have them forever, you know? And then you got people there for a lifetime. So people that you know, like as soon as you meet them, you get that like soulmate vibe. Like this person is in my life and no matter what I do, no matter where I go in life, they're always going to be there. So there's going to be friends where if you don't hang out with them anymore, you can tell that like we're not really friends anymore, but I was their
yeah.
friend. Or if there's people that are lifetime friends, like I haven't seen them in a year, but I still consider them my friend. No matter how long we spend apart, I still consider them my friend. And then when you hang
Yeah.
out again, it's literally the same, like as if you just hung out yesterday. I feel like the people who are there for a reason. Have you guys had those friends that like they were like your best friend at one point and then now not so much?
I would consider friends that I have for a reason are more so based on like circumstance, right? Like I have friends in school where I mean, I'm not going to school and seeing them anymore, but we were there for each other when we were both going to school. That was basically the reason why we were friends is because we were going to school every day. We had common interests. We found similarities in how we felt and our outlook. That was the reason why we were friends, just because we were sharing that classroom. We were sharing the experience. And then outside, after we graduated, we don't talk as much anymore. I still consider them my friends. I don't really say that I'm not friends with anyone anymore based on just how much time has passed. But I'm sure if we were to pick up that friendship like now, it might be a little rough, but obviously you found those qualities in each other where, you can consider yourself friends. And I'm sure that'll just get some traction after you put some effort into it.
Far as like friends, like even though like I don't speak to, if I like kind of just fall out of touch with somebody, there's no particular falling out. Like it's not a bad end. It just you just stop talking to somebody because that's just what happens. Life, goes through phases. You go to different schools, you go do different works, and just you just stop talking. It's a pretty normal thing. So I
Yep.
don't ever really consider anyone like just because I don't talk to them every single day, like they're no longer my friend. Because I feel like a lot of people, if I were to see them and just talk to them again, it's like because I was friends with them
Yeah.
initially. I like to say I'm pretty selective, so it's hard to ever really say that people just kind of pass by and like just never see him again.
That's what I wanted to like compare with for a reason for a season. Cause if you're for a reason, like you don't consider them not your friend, they just kind of phased out. But I feel like when I say like for a season, I feel like those kinds of friendships usually end like badly and like you don't no longer consider them your friend. Like you probably wouldn't
How
reach
many
out to
times
them.
do you feel like you have a good amount of instances where like you have like rough falling outs?
I definitely I feel like I had one for sure, like in college. That's why I kind of want to talk about it because there could be in your life where you meet a friend and they're your best friend ever and you think they're like out there for your best interest or whatever have you. But then as time goes on, you realize like the toxicity in that relationship and like now it's like too much pressure on you to like hold this friendship together or like it's like draining you or that person's just like a bad influence on you and sometimes you just need to cut them off. If you feel like a certain friendship you have is turning into like a negative part of your life, like you're stressed about a friendship, like things shouldn't be that way. Like you shouldn't feel like negativity from a friendship. And if you're in that position, like I was, like I had a friend in college, and she was a great person. We had so much fun. She was like the extrovert in our friendship. She was always going out and like invite me, and like I had a good time. But then as time went on, I realized like how toxic she was in terms of like all the other people we hung out with. And I didn't like that. So I just had to cut her off, you know? She was there for like most of my college years. We had a good time. I have no regrets being her friend. But when college ended, I was like phased her out, like just cut her off because I'm like, I can't deal with the toxicity. We're not maturing at the same level. And sometimes you just got to do that. I'm still friends with some people from college, but there was that one person that I just had to cut off. And I want to just tell everybody that it's healthy to just cut people off that are bringing negativity in your life.
But you do have to. I mean, you guys were friends. You said maybe even best friends in college. So you got to give that person a chance to kind of air out your own grievances. At least let them know what's on your mind. Let them know why you feel like this relationship is getting toxic or is toxic, or why you feel like it's bringing negative circumstances into your own life, right? You don't want to just say, I actually don't like Crystal. I'm just going to cut her off. You want to at
Give him
least
a chance.
give them a chance to explain themselves, or at least let them know how you feel, because, if you don't tell them how you feel, they won't know.
Yeah.
It also
I think
tests
I
the friendship,
knew.
right? Because if you're able to
Yeah,
have that communication and go beyond it, then maybe it's no longer a friend for a season. It's now your friend for a
Hmm,
lifetime.
true.
But
exactly.
I definitely get that where like if someone's just draining you all the time, you gotta walk away.
Yeah, I definitely told her like how I was feeling. Like, you only talk about yourself. You don't care about anything I'm going through. You never support me when I need your support. And then she pretty much just sat there and tried to discredit everything I was saying. And I'm like, that's when I know that it's not gonna work. Because if you're not gonna even meet me halfway, we're done here. Bye.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's just the healthiest thing to do.
Yeah. It brings back like what we were talking about in the first part where it's a two-way street. You can't just be giving and giving and giving to your friends and never getting any support back. It feels like you're working for someone. It's not like a two-way street anymore. So
Yeah.
those are the relationships I think that it's fine to cut off.
I like those categories of like friends for a reason, friends for a season, friends for a lifetime. Those are good categories, but know that like that you can swing between categories. Just because you fall out of touch with somebody, you could always reach back out. And if maybe there's just a specific time period of your life that just doesn't work out, where like you just, you don't mesh that well, but people change. And you could always, if you were friends with somebody before for a good reason, not like friends with them just like because you were friends, but if you like them and you like what they brought to the table, but you just ended up falling out of touch, you know, feel free to reach out. You can always rekindle a friendship. It's a little different than, like, exes, because with friends, it's not there's a certain certain level that you can rekindle something, and it's a little easier for sure.
And sometimes some friends that you have for a season might turn into friends that you have for a lifetime. You just don't know because you guys haven't, gotten that deep in the relationship, like with each other, right? So, like, let's say I met you last summer and then we don't talk again until the next summer. Technically, they're just friends from last season, but then, getting to talk to someone a little bit more, you find out that you guys can relate a lot easier than, say, one of my other friends already. And so just knowing that that person might even just be there for the rest of your life, it's worth seeing where friendships will take you, right? It's more than just a season. It can be just a season, but some friends just turn into friends for a lifetime.
I think a point that I also want to kind of just clarify in a sense is also like, the idea of like, can't just give, give, give. There's the other ways of giving. There's people are at different spots. I had a friend, like he in college, he had money, right? So like it was just kind of no object to him. Like he'd give me a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of things. I got like a PlayStation, I got a steering wheel, I got camera stabilizer from this guy, all gratis just because we
I
were friends. But it's one of those things, like, you can't, like if someone gives stuff like that to you because they're your friend, you don't have to panic and be like, "Oh, I have to reciprocate this." There's other
The
ways
same
of giving,
way.
Yeah.
just being by be there for them, talk to them. There's other ways you could give because not everybody can just, pass out PlayStation 4s because they don't need it anymore. So there's other ways you can give. Friendship is more than trying to be equal as far as giving. There's a do it in different ways. Is what I'm trying to say.
So that kind of brings me to my next point. So you guys keep talking about how like you can move from like the different categories of friends, and if you want to move into like that lifetime friendship, obviously you need to be a good friend to keep a good friend. So I want to talk about like what what do you guys do to be a good friend? How do you know you're a good friend to someone?
And before we get into that topic, we're going to be incorporating a little game called
Hmm.
Word Sneak. And so what we're going to do is that at separate times with every kind of I guess idea shift, one of us is going to get 5 words. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to incorporate it as seamlessly as we possibly can in our sentences. So we're going to continue this topic, but we're going to be incorporating word sneak. So we're going to have the words down below for you. And we're going to start off with Crystal playing the game. And then we'll switch off people as we go through. So I hope it's kind of fun for everybody because it will be definitely be fun for us.
Oh boy, this is gonna be hard. I got some. I don't even know. I already know one word. I don't even want to use it. Oh gosh. I know you guys all know which one I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to talk
Steven's
about
word
my
sneak words are
first tip
silent,
on how to be a good
dazzling,
friend.
die,
And Steven's going
invent,
to go ahead and try
saunter.
to fit all of his 5 words within this. So I have like 2 points and they're kind of related. But the main thing is that if you want to be a good friend, you just got to listen. Listen, listen, listen. Everybody needs someone to talk to, and sometimes you always want to like also contribute to the conversation and talk about yourself, but you have to read the room. And sometimes when someone's coming to you with a problem or they're sad or upset, sometimes they don't want advice, sometimes they just want to vent, and they don't really need you to give them any other anything besides just nodding your head, telling them that you understand, telling them that you're there for them, and just let them vent and listen. You know, be a good friend by listening to them. And just by listening, you feel like complete support from that person.
Definitely a good mark of a good friend is to be able to, identify when they want solutions or they just want to air out their grievances. And that's, I mean, I'm terrible at identifying that. So I usually ask outright. I'm like, okay, so do you want advice about this, or do you just want to like say your piece? Because Sometimes it's hard to tell.
I'd say, um, generally, if it's a newer friendship or maybe we're not that deep in that relationship and they come to me with some issues or some problems, I like to dissect what they're saying, right? Like really listen to what they're saying. So I end up just being silent, but just having them know that I'm listening, just being present and understanding what they're saying is enough for me. And then because this is a new friendship, I'm sure the other person, if they are looking for kind of like a resolution, opinion, or something, they're going to be like, what do you think? They're going to verbally address that they want your opinion on it.
If someone's not asking for your advice, like, hey, I want advice on this, and they're just like saying all this info, maybe that's a sign that they don't need advice. But if they outright say, like, what
I
do you
need your help
think?
on this.
What do you think I should do? Like, I don't know what to do. What should I do? That's definitely a card where they want you to start giving them what you think.
I'm so logistical in my mind that like anytime someone brings up like a problem or something, because that's usually what people kind of talk about. They go to work and then they come back, they have a problem, they try to, they tell you about it, and not always do they want a, solution. They just want to listen. But I'll like hear the problem and be like, okay, I gotta solve it now. But it's like to be a good friend, just kind of understand that like, hey, sometimes they don't need the answer. Sometimes they already know the answer and they just want to talk about it.
That kind of brings me into my next point, which is basically listening, but it's a specific time where, like, if your friend is coming to you with something they're so excited about, they're so happy about, they're starting a new project, they just got promoted, they have a new boyfriend or girlfriend, etc. Whatever your opinions are in that moment, shut them down. Shut them down. Your
Uh,
opinion doesn't matter. If your friend is coming to you like so happy, so excited. Your job in that moment as a friend is to validate their happiness. Like, wow, I'm so happy with you. Like, this is so great. Don't shut them down. Let them have their moment. Later on, if that boyfriend or girlfriend doesn't work out, then you say, like, yeah, I don't give them your thoughts. But if they're super excited about something, you listen and you tell them you're happy with them. That's how a good friend is. You just need that support sometimes. Maybe later on, once their like initial adrenaline and happiness wears down, you could give them like what you like, all these things that like are your opinions, nuances to that situation. But like in the moment of them being so happy, so excited, the best thing you could do as a friend is support them.
yeah, I feel like I've made the mistake where someone's come to me with so much enthusiasm on something, and I just find this dazzling opportunity to match the energy. And I'm just like, this is actually the wrong time for me to do this because then all that energy just got misplaced in the misunderstanding, right? That I'm trying to like match the energy, and they're like, well, it's more so about this, right? So let them have their moment.
You're there to support them. You could have a certain another thing that you want to say and like ruin their moment, but just refrain from that and give them what they want for the time being. I feel like if you screw that up, they might get mad and it'll turn everything in a horrible situation.
If someone's happy about something, be happy about it for a little bit. I mean, obviously, if they're super happy about something that's potentially bad for them, you do want to bring it up eventually. You can't just be like, "Oh yeah, that's great. I'm just being a good friend," you know. But of course, yeah, when someone initially comes to you with something, like maybe just think about like, "Hey, this person's coming to me because they want to share their good news and spread their good news to me." Regardless of how you feel about the topic.
Yeah, because like if someone's coming to you for good news, they're expecting you to also be happy for them. They wouldn't go to someone who they think is going to shut them down and make them feel shitty.
More so, I get so much satisfaction within my friendships to see that they like, for at least in myself, to match their energy. And so I kind of look for those opportunities, like I mentioned earlier. And then I found myself making the mistake. But I mean, friendships are, I don't know how to incorporate this word. Yeah, it's pretty tough to say all those words. I got through a couple of them, but man, to throw them into conversation,
I did
tough.
approve like the first two that you did say. They were very very seamless.
Yeah.
What's your
Crystal's
advice?
word
Here,
sneak
how
words
do you be
are
a good friend?
dizzy,
One way that
night,
I like
dwell,
to think that
cave,
I'm a good friend is
hanging.
that I like to keep an open mind. I want to make sure that it's not my way or the highway. A lot of people have a lot of different perspectives on things. And even if my friends don't disagree with me, I shouldn't take it personal. It's just the way the world works, right? We don't all agree on things. And so keeping an open mind, I feel like is huge in making friends, keeping friends, and it makes lasting friendships.
A lot of people think like their friends have to be like so similar to them that they agree on everything, but there's that yin and yang of the world. So there's people have differences. They're not always going to have the same mindset. And you could be friends with somebody if you disagree with a lot of things. But there's could be like one thing that you really like. Say you both really like basketball, but you disagree on everything else. You can still be friends with that person.
Yeah. Definitely don't dwell on all the things that you don't agree on. You guys could definitely figure out a way to, you know, still find other things in common. You can't just one thing they disagree, you can't stop being their friend and go hide in a cave and never be their friend again. Don't leave them hanging after that. You just gotta go with the flow, and if you don't agree with something, you just call it a night and say, what, that thing is whatever, but we can still be friends and find other things to be friends with.
Yeah, I mean, because you guys are probably friends more so than just a single topic. I mean, and even if it is just that, you guys have found each other to be friends for a reason. It's those, you know, personality traits and qualities in the people that you become friends with that you cling on to. Not so much the subject that you guys talk about, right? But it's those opinions that you can either go back and forth on that you feel comfortable with, or it's, similarities that you find in topics.
Yeah. And even like if you don't agree on stuff, you can have like a healthy debate moment, you know? Like go
Yeah.
go back and forth like why
Debates
don't
make good
you
friends.
why do you feel this way? Like I feel this way, you could always change your mind too. If their point for some reason makes more sense. You just start debating on it. You might get a little dizzy from all the freaking fighting and back and forth, but I think you could come to a compromise or even make someone change their mind, or maybe someone will change your mind. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, ding, 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 ding. I got all my 5 words. I don't know if they all made sense, but
Very nice.
Yeah. You guys
I
can judge the seamlessness of that. It definitely felt like a machine gun coming out of
I
the
like
Yeah.
gates.
I think it was like
But
one sentence I got four.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you
I
like
hope
when
I
you came out freaking slinging.
they all came
Yeah.
Amazing.
they all felt
Debate
right.
on the seamlessness of that. Yeah, but just to finish up that point, like that, like debates are good because one of the things, like I think it's hard to carry on a conversation with people, even if it's just your friends. So what I ultimately end up doing is just playing devil's advocate. Because sometimes if I don't have much to give to a conversation or I don't really care about it, like I'll just take the opposite point so that they can expound on their idea.
That's smart.
To see what they're thinking about. That's why it's important to keep an open mind because, generally, if you remain closed minded, everything is just unappealing. You're closed off to a lot of different ideas and just doesn't make for a good foundation for a friendship.
My point that like I think would make kind of a small point, but
My
it's
word
good piece
sneak
of advice of
words
how to
are
be a good friend.
affection,
Is I think
series,
in the specific
essay,
situation
inject,
in which like
lesson.
there's a lot of times where you end up hanging in a group or like in a party setting. Um, I think it's really important to be a good friend. Is if you invite somebody to a party or you invite people to a group, make rounds to each friend. Because sometimes people aren't always just comfortable just going and talking to random other people. you know, Make rounds, introduce people to people, and also just give them individual time. You take like 5 minutes out of whatever situation you're in, and just be like, "Yo, what's up, man?" Blah 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 blah, and it's just a type of affection that you need to pursue with other people because you want to be that good friend.
Yeah, like whenever I'm at like a get together, if I notice that someone's like hasn't been talking so much, if they're like off by themselves, I always make sure and go check on them. Like, hey, you cool? How's everything going? Make them feel like, someone's paying attention to me, someone's caring, and that
Yeah,
builds a friendship for sure.
I think it's also like it would even be better if you just had like a series of checkups. Oh, you can go and see them for like 2 minutes. say hi, and then you walk away, and then just know, like, if you notice they're not communicating with other people, you could come back, just say hi again, another 2 minutes. Just give them some time.
That reminds me of this TikTok I saw where it's like how guys make friends. And it's like every day you see the same person, you just give them a head nod and you're just like, and then like by the third head nod, all of a sudden you're best friends and you're like, yo, what's up? Don't even know their name. You're just head nodding each
That
other.
happens so much.
So like if you're at a party and then the next party you see the same guy and you just like, what's up? And then by the third party, you guys like are literally talking the whole time, having a good time.
Yeah. I like
Literally,
communication with these people. Like, it doesn't have to be an essay. You could just be that head nod, just like, yo,
yeah.
and that's just all you got to give.
Yo.
No, I mean, that's like the first step, right? Is to like basically just to build rapport. And a lot of people do that by either introducing themselves formally, right? Or it could just be that head nod to the person that you see at a third party in a row. And next thing you know, it's like, what's up, bro? And then that's just enough to spark a conversation.
Yeah, you
Well,
kind of just like, just with those head nods, you just kind of inject your friendship into that relationship. You just become friends, and I think that's a powerful lesson for everybody watching. That that
And
just make your rounds and just
it
maybe a
worked.
head nod. Ding 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 ding.
you got all five?
I would like to say I
Very
did
nice.
that super seamlessly.
I would say so.
We'll let y'all judge. Leave some comments down below.
I
Let us know.
I feel like I should get extra points for putting it all in one sentence. Please,
Yeah. Do
guys,
you
give
guys
me some points in the
prefer?
comments.
Do you prefer someone laying down crumbs for the thing, or do you prefer someone just mowing down with a straight machine gun, chopping down all the words? You guys take your pick, and sometimes you only get two, but those two just went
Yeah.
great.
Seamless.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear them.
Let let us know who you think won that round. That was our last topic, but I wanted to do one like quick fast round that I thought of. So for each person, fast round, lightning speed, give me three like qualities in a friend that you like. So because obviously some people are gonna have like the same stuff, so maybe you know you want to like switch up your personality a little bit to like meet those needs. What are people
I
looking
don't know.
for
They
out
need to
there?
have die, they need to have invent, and they need to have saunter. Let's go!
No,
Yeah.
seriously, seriously.
Just give me
Okay, no,
just
for
give me
real.
three random roots.
No, John, you go first for real this time. Three person or three traits that are like a good or a friend that you're looking for.
Number one, I someone that has a similar humor to me. As you see, like making a friend, like I prefer when people laugh. So if they have a similar humor, they're gonna probably laugh. I think somebody that is also reliable. That's a one. Like if I can trust you to do something for me, like if I ask for a favor and then know that it's gonna get done, then there you go. You're a friend. You're a good friend. And the last one, try to think of something really quickly. I like someone who dresses well. Somebody. I think a good quality for a friend. For me personally, I like someone who's extroverted because I'm pretty introverted. So if somebody can be the extrovert in any situation that I need to be in, that's a true friend to me. You take care of all the talking, and I'll just stay in place and I'll eat hot dogs. So
I agree
that's
with
what I
that.
like.
Yeah, if you have anxiety, definitely find an extroverted friend. They'll take care of all the social situations for you. Okay, babe, you're three. Go.
Rich, generous, and giving.
Hey, you're rich. Must be
No.
rich. Check.
I
You would
think
get
three
along
qualities.
very well with that college friend that I talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a
It's
number?
nice to have friends that are rich for sure.
They'd probably have to be funny just to keep that friendship going when there's really nothing else to talk about or find in common. If at least bare minimum they're funny to talk to or listen to, I can consider you my friend. Number two, they have to be open minded being able to understand how I am open-minded myself when it comes to other people. I feel like I need that same approach from somebody else. Um, doesn't mean that if you're closed-minded that I wouldn't consider you my friend, but definitely something I look out for. And I'm that third point, I'm gonna backpack on Jun here and say they definitely need to be reliable. If there's something that I I need that I didn't even know that I need, like if I just wanted to get something off my chest, I want to be able to know that I can reach out to you and you'd either listen to it or at least respond, something like that. Being able to know that they're just there for me.
Yeah.
Now, Crystal's master plan comes together and she got all that time to think of her three things. Crystal,
Yeah.
what are your three qualities in a friend that you want the most?
I'm gonna just rapid fire. I feel like everybody's first one is the same. Same sense of humor. Whether they're laughing at me or I'm laughing at them. Two, a good heart. They just have to have the best intentions for everybody. I'm not trying to have someone out here being a jerk and then I'm embarrassed to like show them to my other friends. And three, trustworthy. If I can trust you with anything, tell you about my life, and you're not going to go blab about it to whoever or, you know, whatever, what have you with information, then we're not friends. So trustworthy. Those are my three. You know,
Good.
Yeah.
you
Bottom line,
know.
get someone who's funny.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't even have to be funny too, because like everybody could be funny in their own way, but they have to have the same kind of funny. So I hope you guys enjoyed our podcast today about friendships, making friends, how to decipher the type of friend you have, when to cut people off if you need to, when to reach out and make them a lifetime friend. You never know. And last, how to be a good friend. You gotta be open minded, listen to them. And Jun talked about making rounds. You just gotta make rounds, check up on your friends, check up on the quiet friends, check up on the loud friends, check up on all your friends. We hope you guys learned a little bit. You know, we're not experts on friends. Not everybody is a friend type of person, but you gotta have people in your life to support you. That is our topic today. We hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful week, and I'm hoping you guys stick around and watch our next episode, which will be Thanksgiving. If you guys have any advice relating to friendships, make sure you share that with us, whether that's on our Twitter or down in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know how you make friends. What's worked out for you? Do you have a story you want to share with us that people can learn from? Everybody here, we consider you our friends. So let's be friends with each other. Share your stuff. We're excited to hear back. And that's us. We are on the line.
If you like this content and want more content like this, hit us up on our social media. We are on Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. You can hit us up on We Are On The Line. Now, what button do I press?
Did I do that?